Discord.
I'm going to be interested to see how this, because some of the exhibitors are just saying drop by and ask us for a demo whenever, and some are saying book a time slot with us.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one. When I've always attended physical conventions, I've never like had any kind of calendaring or booking system, and a lot of people, other exhibitors, other designers and publishers, often said to me, "Oh, well, you should totally like have a calendar and stuff," but I know it's always worked fine for a physical convention because there's just people milling about. The demo's relatively nice and short, and so as it finishes, you just get more people to come along. I felt swayed on this occasion because it's just not clear to what extent people are going to be moving past. I thought I'd try and drum up some interest in advance.
I'm kind of trying to sort of look at the figures and things. Like there's like when there's like 3 Twitch streams going, they seem to be getting like sort of about 100, 200 viewers each, depending on what they are. And the tournaments I did yesterday, the Seven Wonders one had about 90 people enter, and the Can't Stop tournament 256, and I didn't get to register in time. So, because my plan is, I've kind of thought, right, I'm going to make a list of all the talks and things I want to watch, and then in between sort of that, play tournaments and just sort of see who can sort of demo things. So, because I know when I did the virtual GridCon and the virtual ManaCon, and I kind of noticed on there because I was demoing a game I was playtesting, and when I put like an appointment thing or said I will do it at this time, you run the risk of people no shows basically.
Yeah, basically. Right, let me send you the details for the Tabletop Simulator server. I think indeed that our other sign up is a no-show, but if anyone else is watching and would like to play, join the Discord and voice your interest. Let me see. I keep on losing.
I'm glad you reminded me I was going live. I'll check everything I say first. You're live on Discord, Twitch. Please do say anything controversial or bad.
Right, so the server name should be and the password is right. So hopefully you'll be able to find the simulator room.
Okay, that's gone to be private. Let me just work that out. Okay. Okay, and the password is that.
Aha!
And I'm in.
Excellent. I'll just check that it's all... Okay, is everything loaded correctly? All the assets showing up?
It looks like it. Nothing's... that all looks fine.
Great. Okay, right. Oh, yeah, I can see your nice little red hand there. So you're the red player. Am I the white player then? Is that what's going on?
You're currently the neutral player by the looks of it.
That's right. Okay, so
you are currently just observing.
I will be yellow then. There we go. Okay. Right. Just make sure I've got to reset the game since I was fiddling with it earlier. That looks right. Okay, right. So I will give the rules explanation now then. Excuse me. Okay, so this is Circulari. Game of tactics and resource management for 1 to 4 players set in the accretion disk of a black hole. And you, StartPlayer, are a Circulari, which is to say you are a deep space miner operating in the asteroids in the accretion disk. And the objective of the game for you, for everyone, is to be the best Circulari. So I've just scrolled over. Okay. You're probably not watching the Twitch stream, so I'll give some guidance as to what I'm pointing at. You can probably see my yellow hand as well, I guess.
Do you know how to do that on Tabletop Simulator? The tab key.
Ah, that's brilliant. Yeah.
And that will tell... so I will then know exactly what you're talking about.
Fabulous. Oh, that's a feature I was not aware of, so thank you very much. Yeah, so... Well, no, let's tab that one. Right. So you'll be rated on your performance.
Totally different part of the screen. The arrow will tell me where to go and look.
Yeah. Oh, that's really handy. No, Tabletop Simulator is a nice piece of software. Yeah. So you'll be rated on your performance using this scoring track at the top of your fleet board. And when one player reaches 7 or more points, then that triggers the end of the game. At that point, everyone gets 1 extra turn, apart from you. And then the most talented Circulari, the one with the most talent points, is the winner. So because this is a demo, we're going to start at 4 points, so that it's relatively not too long. Yes, and there are a number of different ways to earn talent points, which I will get to in a moment. So, as I was saying before, players take it in turns, and each turn consists of 2 distinct phases. So the first phase is called the action phase. In your action phase, you may take 1 or optionally 2 actions, and there's a little quick reference area. There we go. Yep. Which indicates the different actions that you can take, and I'll just explain what those actions are now. So the first action is the deploy robot action. So when you play deploy robot, you take one of the unused robot cubes from the 0 resources area of your player board and add it onto the space station. So that increases the size of your active mining fleet. Beginning of the game, everyone has 4 robots, but you can add to them at the cost of using your cubes, which is a limited fungible resource that you'll employ for a couple of other things. So the second action is the move robots action. This is one of the most important, most frequently used actions in the game. And when you play that action, you need to think about how many movement modules you have. So at the beginning of the game, everyone has 4 movement modules, but you may gain more as you progress. And what that basically means, let's scroll around, and is that you can take 1 cube, and you could spend those movement modules to move it 1, 2, 3. Clicking the wrong thing. 3, 4 spaces anti-clockwise, or you could move it 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces clockwise, or you could take all 4 cubes and you could move them 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 space.
Yep.
So you can basically freely spend these modules however you wish. So you could take one of them and go 1, 2, and then spend the other 2, 3, 4, like so.
Yep, understood.
Yeah. So they're not consumed. You basically get the same number again every time you play the move robots action. So the third action is the upgrade action. So this is the first of our actions that has a cost in resources. So this will cost you 1 metal and 2 energy in order to upgrade. So basically you can upgrade either your number of movement modules or your number of command channels. So obviously movement modules is fairly straightforward. You know what they are. When you upgrade your movement modules, you may immediately move your robots as part of that action.
Oh, okay, yep.
With the new number of movement modules. Command channels also can be upgraded, and I'll explain what they do in just a minute. The other thing important to note is this is one of the 4 ways in which you can earn more talent points. If you max out either or both of these upgrade tracks by upgrading twice, then you get 1 talent point as a bonus for doing that.
Okay.
And then fourth and finally, but by no means least, the export action. This also costs resources, 3 metal and 2 energy. You take those resources, send them back home to your home civilization, and you'll be rewarded with 2 talent points for your trouble. So those are the 4 different actions. You can take any one of these actions. If you wish, you may then take a second action for a cost of 2 energy, and that could be the same action again, or it could be a different action. Once you've taken your 1 or 2 actions, that then concludes the action phase of your turn, and we move on to the command phase. So the command phase, you now have to think about how many command channels you have. And at the beginning of the game, everyone has 1 command channel, and that basically means is you may move or operate, send commands to, at most, 1 asteroid. In order to send commands to an asteroid, you need to have some robots in the central section of the asteroid. That's the thruster robots.
Yep.
So let's say that you had 3 thruster robots on this asteroid. Then you could move it 1, 2, 3 spaces clockwise, for example.
Oh, okay, yep.
Yeah, nice bit of scripting there. I'm going to continue to compliment myself on the scripting throughout the day.
I am impressed by this. I will ask later how you did that. Okay, yep.
Or you could move it 1, 2 spaces anti-clockwise. You can't move any further than that because it's not possible to move past the space station. If you had fewer thruster robots, then you wouldn't be able to move as far. So this is what we call the shift commands. That's the first command indicated on your quick reference area. And there are 2 more commands. And these are special commands.
How many spaces could I move it again? That was determined by the cubes.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yep.
But limited to not being able to move past the space station.
Okay.
Although you can't move past the space station, there is something that's special that happens when you get next to it. So I'll just illustrate that. So let's say, okay, so the other important thing to note about the asteroids is you will note that they are played in 2 different orientations. So it's the label which is facing the black hole is the active one. So some of them are waste rock asteroids. They are depleted of their resources and waiting to be deorbited. And some are metal ore asteroids. They're still rich in resources waiting to be mined out. So generally what we're trying to do in the game is you want to move your metal ore asteroids clockwise to here, to the metal ore slot next to the space station. And this is the place where you can employ the extract command to get the metal out of them. So let's demonstrate that. So let's say that you had a metal ore asteroid here, and you've got 2 thrusters on it. So you could employ your first of those thrusters to shift it into position, and then your second thruster to then extract the metal. And what you want, let's see, is to have some cubes on these metal extraction spaces. So what happens when we play the extract command is that there is a context menu option which lets you set the orientation of the card. So I press set to waste rock. So there you go. That has now been mined, and because you performed that that command, you will gain 1 metal for having done so. So if we look at your fleet board, you take 1 cube out of the 0 space because you don't have any currently on the track, and you would move it to the 1 position. And then additionally, because you have 1 cube in the metal extraction space, you would also gain 1 metal for that. So you would gain 2 metal. And because I have 1 cube passively sitting there, I would also gain 1 metal.
Okay.
So this is indicated on the quick reference, basically 1 metal for doing the extract, and then 1 metal per cube in the extraction spaces.
Okay.
And likewise, something similar happens when you get to the other side. So let's just set this set this one up. Waste rock. So again, so you had a waste rock here, and you've got some cubes on it. Put some cubes on it. Then you could use one of those thrusters in order to move it into position next to the waste rock slot, and the second one to play the deorbit command. When you play the deorbit command, then a couple of things happen. One is you gain 1 talent point. This is the 3rd way of earning talent points in the game, as a reward for helping keep the disc clear of hazardous waste rock. Secondly is that as it falls in, causes some energy to be radiated from the black hole. So anyone has any cubes located on energy collection spaces anywhere in the disk gains 1 energy. So that might be on the same asteroid, it might be on a different asteroid. So in this case, we would each gain 1 energy because we each have 1 cube on an energy collection space. And then finally, we drop. Our asteroids fly off in the nick of time before it goes into the black hole. So again, there's a context menu option for doing that. And then we drag that asteroid out of the way, and we get a new metal ore asteroid.
Okay.
And that is basically the core of the rules. So yeah, the objective of the game is to have the most talent points. First player to 7 triggers the end of the game. You can earn talent points by maxing out your upgrades, by deorbiting asteroids. There's 1 talent point in that. By exporting, 2 talent points every time you export. There are also, 4th and finally, some talent points given at the end of the game for how many metal and metal and energy resources you have outstanding. So if you manage to finish the game with no metal and energy, you'll be rewarded with 1 talent point for your efficiency. If you finish the game with 6 to 11 units of metal and energy, then you gain 1 talent point for your surplus. And
Well,
if you gain 12 or more, then that you gain 2 points for your abundant surplus. When the game end is triggered by reaching 7, then each other player has 1 additional turn, so the game finishes as just before the start, just before your turn. The triggering player's turn would start again, and then we score it. And that is it. Do you have any questions?
The only thing I think I've missed, or you probably say, what's the difference between waste and metal? Sorry, this in terms of when we're collecting things.
Oh, right. So and
if I run out of these red cubes because I've deployed them all, does that mean I can't collect resources?
Right. So there is a hard limit on the number of cubes. So what happens with collecting resources is that 1 cube can hold up to 4 of any given resource, and at that point, you then can employ an additional cube. Right. If you get to a point where you use up all of your cubes, and you don't have any more, but you need 1 to either deploy a robot or because you've got even more resources, then you can then resolve the shortage by retiring a cube from another function. So, for example, if you got even more metal, you could now empty out, discard that energy, and then give yourself an extra cube. Or you could take a robot and you could retire it back, or you could just decide to throw away the resources that you were due to get.
That makes sense how that's working out. I was wondering where you said you could go to 12. Like, how am I getting 12? And it goes up to 4. That makes sense.
Right,
I think that broadly makes sense. I'll probably do something wrong, but that's what happens when you learn a game.
That is very true. But hopefully it will go fairly smoothly. I just check I've reset everything. I will take the blue player's cubes. Whoops. I'll take the...
And I might ask you later a scripting question when I'm not being filmed.
That's fine. More than happy to help.
You've done something there which I think a friend of mine would find extremely useful.
All right. Let's see. So...
so the start of the game, are these out randomly, or...
So they have numbers on them.
Oh, right.
Which indicates their starting position. I suspect I could probably just reload from the save, but I'll try that later to make sure it works. There we go, and I believe I have reset everything.
Never do anything live. That's always a bad idea.
So there we go. So set to metal ore. There we go. So we are good to go. So would you like me to take the first turn?
Yeah, please. That's fine.
Right. Okay. Right. So I am the yellow player. And I am going to take the move robots action. So I'm going to move... Yes, let's do this. I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes there. So I've got 2 on the thrusters and 2 on the metal extraction spaces. Yeah. And then I'm not going to take it at second action, so that's the end of my action phase. So I'm then going to move this asteroid 2 spaces, because I've got 2 thrusters. Like so. And that is the end of my command phase. So it's now...
So why are you moving away from the metal ore space? So that's where I wanted to get to.
Oh, of course, I realise my problem now. I've set up the game as a mirror image. I don't think it was... I don't think it's set up like that in the save, but I think when I started putting things back together again...
I think earlier I thought, they're on the opposite sides to each other. That makes sense.
They were on the opposite sides of each other. Okay, let's put that right. That shouldn't take more than a second. 5, 6.
It's
right,
good because it means I understood the rules. And I thought, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, good spot. Okay, yes. So I moved them clockwise. Yeah, so I've got 2 here, and then I'm going to move this one this way. So yeah, I am heading clockwise now towards the metal ore slot. Okay. And it is your turn.
I would also think it'd be sensible to move robots. So if I'm right in thinking, if I go 1, 2, 3, I might gain something passively off what you're doing later.
Right, indeed, yes.
Then I'm going to move now. So I could start loading them up, or because if I put 1 on here and then I move it, it's going to cost me more movement points to get things round to it later.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So,
that's right, yeah.
but it also means you're less likely to move there as well. So I will. So shift, extract, deorbit. Do I have to take a command?
You don't have to take any commands, no. And in fact, if you don't have any thruster robots, you can't.
That makes sense. No, let's do it. Let's move around and see what happens. And that's me.
Okay, so let's see. So obviously I can continue moving. Don't really feel the need to redeploy anything at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the deploy robot action. So I'm going to take an extra robot, add it to the space station for me to use later. And that's my action phase. Not going to take a second action. And for my command phase, I will continue my clockwise transit. There. And that is the end of my turn.
I'm going to spend 3 movement points coming round to here. Now, what was the cost of... Oh, I can't deploy robots yet. When you do deploy robots, that's just 1 cube, and the cost was...
So the cost is 1 action. So it doesn't cost you any resources, but you need to expend your action. So if you've already moved robots, and you also want to deploy a robot, you can, but you would have to pay the 2 energy price there for the second action.
Okay, I think this is going to help you a bit. So I've moved 3 spaces to here, and then moved 1 space to here, and shifted it round to there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm moving, can I start with one on the asteroid? Could I move this 1 space next turn? Or do the movements all have to start from the space station?
No, so they just start from wherever they're currently located.
Fine. Yep, cool.
So as the game progresses, they tend to be more distributed, and you're less focused on what's on the space station. Okay, right, so your action has shifted me into the metal ore slot, so I don't need to... I only need 1 thruster robot. So I could... Let's see, I think I want to move robots. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to move robots, so I'm going to... Actually... Yeah, okay, I'm going to move robots. I'm going to move 1 onto the energy collector there, and I'm going to move this 1, 2, 3 onto the energy collector there. So that's the end of my action phase. So then for my command phase, I'm going to use my 1 thruster here to mine this asteroid. So I right click and select set to waste rock. So that flips it around. So I now gain 3 metal for doing that, and you gain 1 metal.
Was this what did I start with that too there?
You started with 2 energy, yeah.
Okay, fine. And that's so we've always got the option of a second action from the start. Okay.
Yes, you do, yeah. So your turn again.
Right. Now, so I don't want to be left on here helping you move, so I'll spend 1 point of movement to do this. Oops, sorry. Here we'll get there. And then I've got 3 more movements left, so I'm actually going to go 1, 2, 3, and then for my shift, I'll move this twice. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so my turn again. So let's see. So you're on the cusp of deorbiting that, which is going to produce some energy. Let's see. So at the same time, I perhaps want to move 1 myself. Okay, so I'm going to move robots. I'm going to redeploy my robots onto the thrusters because the metal extraction spaces aren't really any use to anyone now other than as a place to sit and get carried around. So I'm going to max this one out to 3 thrusters and 1, 2, 3, like so.
Okay.
Your turn.
Right. So I don't see the benefit of moving because I'm here. So I'm going to do an upgrade action because I have 2 lightning and 1 metal. What's this resource called? So what's the official name? Energy. There's a friend of mine who, when he does rules explanations, he makes up his own names for actions and things. So when you look at things up in the rules, like, what are you talking about? Okay, so that's an upgrade. So I remember the movement upgrade. Remind me of the command channel upgrade. What that was for?
So imagine that you had a cube in the thruster section of more than 1 asteroid. So you've got some on this asteroid here, but let's say you also have 1 on this asteroid over here.
Yep.
When it gets to be your command phase, because you only have 1 command channel at the moment, you have to pick which one you want to move. But if you had 2 command channels, then you could move first one and then the other.
So it's giving me some extra movement here and there. I think it'd be good to have. I think more movement flexibility is a good thing, so I'll move that to 5.
Okay.
So now I can do an extract from this.
Yes. Oh, don't forget, of course, that if you upgrade your movement modules, you may immediately move robots.
Oh, now. Oh, that's a point. I forgot that. Yes. Is that an efficient time to do it? Yes. Yes, it is. Is that so? That's correct. Yes, I
Yeah,
can do that.
that's right.
Cool. So the extract action. So I right click on this. I click set to metal ore,
Mm-hmm.
and I get 2 metal.
No, so this is the waste rocks. You've got it round to the waste rock space. So what's going to happen now is you get 1 talent point. So if you look at the quick reference area, you can see you're performing the deorbit command. So you get 1 talent point, so you go to 5.
Yep.
And now as the asteroid falls in, it's going to generate some energy. So you now have to look at all the energy collection spaces. So you have 2 cubes in energy collection spaces here.
Yep.
So you get 2 energy.
Excellent.
I also have 2 cubes in energy collection, so I also get 2 energy.
Ooh. Yep, understood.
Okay, and
So
then
that's one of those kind of timing decisions as well about how much you try not to help other people.
yes, exactly, of course. And then if you want to do it yourself, right click on the asteroid again.
Yep.
And you'll see the option evacuate.
Yep.
Right?
And then evacuate.
Yep. Right, so your cubes move out of the way, and then you just drag it onto the outer disk space there. There you go. So then that brings in a new metal ore asteroid.
And now I've got 5 points of movement for getting around. Okay, yep, this makes sense.
Right, okay, so it's my turn again. Let's see, how am I doing actually with resources? I've got quite a few. I could export, maybe. And if I were to do that, I would probably want... The next thing maybe is to get more metal. Where is my... Oh, yes, there they are. Okay, so I'm going to move robots 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 to there, and then I'm going to spend 2 energy to take a second move robots. So that's 1, and then this one 2, 3. There we go, onto this asteroid. Right, so that's the end of my action phase. For my command phase, then, I'm now going to move this asteroid 1, 2, and then also mine it. So set to waste rock. So for that, I will gain 3 metal, 1 for doing it, and 1 for each of my 2 cubes. So I'll just drag that along. So I've now maxed out that track, so I need to employ an additional cube, like so. So I now have 6 metal, 2 energy, and that is the end of my turn.
You got there before I did. Otherwise, I would have jumped on that as well. So now that's now full. It's going to travel back round the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get to the metal to get the resources, but to the waste rock for the points.
Yes.
Right. Okay. I'm just planning what to do next. Give me a. I don't normally think that long in games, but I may as well. Let's try something slightly different. I haven't done it yet, so let's deploy a robot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just see if having the extra movement, how helpful that is.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have no thrusters. Was that thrusters the right term?
Yes, you've got no
Yes,
thrusters.
I have no thrusters, so I guess I cannot do a command.
That's right.
Okay, but I've got something out extra for next turn. Okay, that's me.
Yeah. Okay, so I am going to... I'm going to deploy a robot as well. And then, so that's my action phase. I've already got 3 thrusters on this waste rock, so I'm just going to start moving this one around. 1, 2, 3, yes. There we go. So there you go, that's my turn.
Right, I'm definitely going to do a move robots. Let's just work out. See, I could just go 1, 2, 3 and hop onto that. That seems a sensible thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Except this is a waste rock asteroid, remember, and I'm moving it into the deorbit slot, so placing it on the extractor isn't going to do you much
It isn't,
good.
though. That's a very good point. So being on the energy space may be useful.
True, although you could be on any energy space, don't forget.
I think I need to start. Yeah, I want resources. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've got a 5th point of movement, so I imagine at some point it'll be useful to be here. So now I can do 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my actions.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to move robots. I'm going to move one here like that, one here like that.
And is it 1 point of movement to move within the same card?
Ah, yes, so I forgot to say that. Yes, to change the section you're in on a
Yep,
card, that's
fine.
also 1 point's worth of movement.
I assumed it was, but I just want to check. Yep.
Okay, so there we go. I think that's... Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so then I am going to... That's my action phase. So then for my command phase, I am now going to move this, shift this once, and then I'm going to deorbit it. So for that, let's generate energy. So I get 2 energy, and you will get 1 energy.
Nah, so what I probably should have done then, rather than blocking up this mining space, maybe I should have sat on the energy space and then spent a
Perhaps,
point
yeah.
of movement. Because I'm now thinking that there's not really much in terms of movement I want to do. So, okay.
Right, so having done that, I can now evacuate my asteroid, which I'll do. Whee. And then we bring in a new asteroid. And now your turn. Oh,
Okay.
actually I missed one thing. Also, I gain 1 talent point for deorbiting.
Okay,
so now both on 5.
So I will see what when I play games, I try not to have lots of resource. I try to be efficient. So let's deploy another robot and see what happens. And then I'm going to spend. Now let me think about this. Okay, and then I'm going to go shift. No, because I've got to do all my actions first and then the command,
Yes,
haven't I?
all the actions first, followed by the commands.
Because you could just jump on the energy spaces if you think I'm going to do that. I should probably do it anyway. So I'll move 3 around. Yes. Okay.
Right. Okay. So my turn. Actually, I can't do that, can I? Actually, yeah. Okay. I will. That was silly. Okay. I need to move robots then, I think. But I just had a slight grand plan moment, which I realised wasn't going to come off. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to move... How many have I got? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so I'm going to move robots. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. If I spend the energy... Yeah, no, let's do that. I'm just going to move robots onto this one here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right, and then that's my action phase. So for my command phase, I can now move this 1, 2, 3, like so. So your turn.
Okay, so I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, there's no benefit of being here when I deorbit, is there?
No.
So I may as well go 4 and 5 onto these energy spaces.
Yeah.
So then I'm going to deorbit this space. So I evacuate. Oh,
So
so
this one is a metal ore, right?
Yeah, I'm getting myself confused. Sorry. Did I move that the wrong way earlier?
I'm not sure.
I may have done. I think
I
may
don't
have
think you moved this one at all, right? Because this is the new asteroid that we just brought in from the outer space.
Okay. So okay. Sorry.
Yeah, whoops, I swapped them by mistake there.
Okay. I think that what have I done? I think I may have moved it the wrong way on a previous turn, like an idiot. Damn. Right. Okay. So I want to start moving that back around then, don't I? That it's over here. Yep. Okay. Oh yes, to move that previously. So that's fine. Yes.
Right. Okay. So for my turn, then I'm going to move robots.
Oh, hang on. So hang on. So I didn't spend move on to these energies. So yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think that's okay. Yep.
I'm just trying to think. Okay, so yeah, I think that's right. Okay, right, yeah. So I've got 2 cubes on the energy collector spaces, and I've got 3 thrusters, so I can just move this one, and then I can deorbit it. So I'm going to gain 2 energy, and you're going to gain
2 energy.
3 energy, right? Because you've got 1,
3, yes.
2, and 3.
which means I have 2 cubes worth of energy. So
Right, so I've run out of 0 cubes, so I need to retire this robot over
yeah.
here. I'll take it back and then put it on there. There we go.
So when you gain resources, gaining them is compulsory.
No, you can throw them away if you don't want.
Oh, so that's the sense. You weren't forced to take that back. Okay.
I wasn't forced to. I could have just said, no, I don't want the energy.
Okay, that's fine.
And I gain 1 talent point for doing that. And then I can evacuate my asteroid, like so. And then we bring in a fresh asteroid. And it's now your turn.
Okay, right. So now I've got all these things. I'm just trying to quick think. So I really want to get more of that action. Just remind me what is the export action again? That's the one I don't think I've seen yet,
so
is it?
The export action, you gain 2 talent points, and it will cost
Yep.
you 3 metal and 2 energy.
And that's it. It's just spend those resources, get the points, and nothing else happens.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. So I'm just sort of planning where my points are coming from. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a very big move. So I can just come the other way, couldn't I? Why would I be doing that? Now let's do it this way. Let's go 1, 2, 3. And I think I want to stay on these energy things because I think you might go around that at some point. So then I'm going to move this one around, and that's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
So next turn I can get metal ore from that space.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I am going to use the export action this turn. So I am going to spend 3 metal and 2 energy to export. So I gain 2 talent points. That takes me to 8. So that now triggers the end of the game. So you get 1 more turn after me, and then we tally up. So I'm now going to take a second action, spend 2 energy. I'm going to export again.
That makes sense.
Me another 2 talent points, taking me to 10.
And that's a much better rate of exchange than having a surplus of things. And
yes, yeah. So it's now your turn.
So there's very little point in moving anywhere. So what? Actually, that's on the wrong space. So I will. So and I can't upgrade and I can't export because I don't have the metal. But I'm about to gain some metal, but I'm only getting 1, aren't I?
Let's have a look. You'll gain 2 actually, because you gain 1 for doing the command and 1 for your cube.
Excellent.
So that will take you to 6 total resources. Oh, actually, you already had 6.
All right. So then I say if it was with a longer game, then I'd spend more time upgrading and so on. And
yes, exactly.
This is also, if that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
So I would score a point for having surplus resources.
Yep, and I score a point for having
no resources. I like that. Yep.
So yeah, that concludes the game with myself on 11 and you on 6.
No, that makes. I think I may have moved one the wrong way at one point, but I may also be wrong in stating that. I'll have to watch back and see.
So thanks for playing. Do you have any thoughts on the game?
I enjoyed that. I can see how. One of the things I've noticed when I've been showing designs to publishers, there seems to be a big trend at the moment against what people are perceiving as negative interaction, and more people want. Oh, I don't harm other people. Yes. I just choose not to help them. Yes. Seems to be a thing that people want at the moment. I'm very old school. I have no problem with meanness, but it seems a lot of people don't think the same way. So, the only thing that might help me is I know they've got these sort of the grey side and the purple side, but if there was a big arrow pointing the way it was trying to get, I know it's saying there, but that's the only thing that might help me.
Possibly it's not visually powerful enough, but you'll notice that the filled-in arrow next to the thrusters always points in the correct direction.
I didn't see that. Fine, yeah. No, if it's already there, I stand corrected. No, I enjoyed that. I think I would play that again. How? Because obviously in a 2-player game, you can probably do a lot of kind of math working out how to not help one person. Because obviously also when I'm moving pieces round, I'm actually giving bonus movements to the other players.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So how does that kind of thought process work with more players? In a 4-player game, do you just sort of plan more for that, or do you just sort of play more solitaire, or how does that change?
So I don't think that it is intended to be a sort of very interactive game where you're constantly affecting and being affected by other players, and I suppose that to do well you ought to think about that. Be thinking about that as a player. Obviously, with more players, the game gets a little bit more chaotic, and it gets, and the sort of the resource economy becomes a little bit more constrained because obviously there's a finite number of slots on the asteroids, and the sort of competition for that tends to be more fierce as you get more players. Personally, I enjoy the game more as a 3 to 4 player game because you get because the interactions between players become more complicated. Because in the 2-player game, obviously, it's kind of like a chess sort of thing going on. Either you win or I win, and we're just constantly thinking about, how that's going to play out. But in a 3 or 4 player game, then the dynamics become more interesting because you may have common interests with other players, and particularly as the cards get more crowded, then you start to have a lot more sharing of cards with different coloured players' cubes on the same asteroid.
I imagine if you just try and sit on all the mining spaces, no one's going to move that tile.
Yeah. So there's a kind of people have a view about what they consider to be fair.
Right.
So in terms of how much effort are you putting in with the thrusting versus how much effort are you going to yield with the extracting, and so some people may think, well, okay, so one of the instances of us collaborating, if you will, earlier in the game is you parasitized me by placing 1 cube on an extractor for a card that I was moving, and that didn't bother me because it was a small, the burden was small, and the game wasn't particularly tight at that point. But yeah, absolutely. If somebody steals disproportionately those spaces, I might well be thinking, well, I'm not going to move that asteroid. I'm going to zip off to a different one. And so you do get that kind of thing going on. And as you know, sometimes people are very much working together, and there's degrees of symbiosis and parasitism and outright aggression. I think. You said earlier that there was a trend for games to be less directly aggressive, and you didn't explicitly say, but I assume that that's what you're seeing in Circulari, right? There's no attacking of
oh no, this is more a passive aggression game, which is probably I'd be interested to see how it plays with more players, because I think if a player tried to just do everything by themselves, they wouldn't do well. But if a player, I'll be interested to see how that works.
Yeah. Hopefully at some point the game will come out and you can grab yourself a copy. You'll be able to play it with all 4 players.
Is this something you're looking for a publish, or are you planning to self-publish?
So I am planning to self-publish. I'm currently looking at May 2021 to go to Kickstarter. That's my rough plan.
I've decided things like self-publishing is too much hard work. So good luck, and I hope it's successful for you.
Thanks very much, and thanks again for playing.
No problem. Thank you. Have a good expo.
You too. Oh, and feel free to ask me your scripting question later.
Yes, I'll come back to you later. Am I okay to share a picture of the game on social media?
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I will do that shortly. Cool. Have a good day, and I'll speak to you later.
Thanks. Bye.